in Central Florida. It's Indie Originals Live with your hosts, Felicia and Fresh. Tonight's musical guests, a bunch of incredibly talented indie artists you may not have heard of before, but who will most likely be tomorrow's biggest stars.
Welcome to episode number 29?
29.
Is that for real?
For real.
Of Indie Originals Live. My name is Chuck Fresh. I'm joined by the lovely and talented
Felicia B.
Is that a Me Too moment, calling you lovely and talented, Felicia? Do you mind?
Not at all.
Oh, okay.
Better.
As you can hear from the airplane overhead and the birds, the sirens, we're on location for the final week here, putting together IndieCon 2019. What a show this is going to be. And, man, I don't even know where to start. It's a film festival, like a mini film festival. It's going to be an author and literature festival with, like, I can't even tell you what some of the ideas, because somebody might steal them before they get there. I want to be the first on record to do some of this stuff. So I'm going to keep that. And then we'll have our music festival, which is kind of an exhibition of local bands. And as we bring IndieCon around these great United States and then to the rest of the world, did you know this is going to be global, Felicia?
I did, actually.
I think we're going to start with Philadelphia, and then London will be our second stop.
I like it.
We have a lot of friends in England now, believe it or not.
All right, then.
Actually, we have friends all over Europe.
I do.
And, like, Europe's like a big state. So, like, going to, like, Ohio is like going from England to France, isn't it? It's closer than that, isn't it?
It's probably closer than that.
Yeah. You were through the Channel?
The Channel.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, look for big things coming from IndieCon. And you told me, Felicia, that we had a bunch of questions online that
Yes, we
you
did.
wanted to address on this week's show. So what did we get?
All right, some people are asking how you got started with this thing. What inspired you to do this?
The show or the IndieCon or the radio show itself?
I think they're asking about the radio show. I mean, this thing's been going on for 29 weeks now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What made you think to even do this?
All right, so we were hosting a local radio show here in Central Florida. And, well, the original show is called Radio Takeover. And we had so much interest from all these. We did a segment called, do you remember what it was called? Was it called Local Beat?
Local Beat Live. Local
Beat Live. Yeah, we did a segment on Radio Takeover, which was a talk show in Central Florida. And we had so many super talented local bands that we did a summer, it was called the Summer of Sounds, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
It was a couple of years ago. I apologize, I don't remember the names of these things. My brain, if you know me, my brain is so fast, I don't know what's going on. But it's a good thing, though. It's a good thing. So we did the Summer of Sounds on Radio Takeover, and that turned into eventually another program. Once the radio station made some changes, we ended up with a program called Local Beat, because we had to go music. So we said, instead of playing this top 40 stuff, which we couldn't stand because there really wasn't any great top 40 out, I said, why don't we do local artists? There's so much raw local talent here in Central Florida. Why don't we do a radio show and feature those artists on our show? And if you remember, the response to that was phenomenal. You remember that? Remember all the really cool interviews and things?
We had a lot of amazing talent right here.
It was so cool. And so that thing evolved into, well, that changed. The program went a different direction, and it went to Minus 35, which was an 80s show, which wasn't bad. And there were some programming changes there, and that I ended up leaving that thing. And then we turned into, I guess it was about a couple of months later, we said, you know what, this Local Beat thing is so good. Why don't we make this whole indie show? Let's just rearrange it and make Local Beat even better and turn it into Indie Originals. And that's kind of how this thing evolved. It became a local radio show, which turned into a podcast. And now it's, I think, on 15, maybe 16 radio stations all over the United States now, plus a podcast that's available globally.
That's awesome.
The response has been just tremendous. I mean, it's just... We're playing independent music. Well, the Local Beat thing didn't work for this particular project because we wanted to go national, and we decided, why not just go international? We've got some great response from bands in Germany, from
England?
Yeah, England, Hungary, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand. I think we got some people from Indonesia coming up in the next week or two. So we decided, let's make this, we can't call it a local beat, and we couldn't, international beat's kind of a weird name. It's kind of like international beat, IB. IB what? Shut up. And so, yeah, we turned it into Indie Originals Live, and that's kind of how we got to where we are now. And it's week number 29, and honestly, Felicia, it's some of the best music I have heard in years.
It is some awesome music every week. It's amazing that we keep finding more and more.
It really, really, really is.
Talented people out there.
It's unbelievable how much talent is out there. It's just bubbling under, and you know, if it wasn't for programs like this, people wouldn't get heard.
That is true.
That's our job, to kind of promote it to the world.
So you've been doing this thing for 29 weeks now, and somewhere around week, I don't know, 15, 16, maybe, you came up with this idea to do an Indie Originals competition.
Oh, boy.
All right. What inspired you to start that project on top of doing the radio show?
Well, Felicia, to be honest, it was... The dog's going to bark. It was probably tequila.
That's probably right.
It was probably tequila, to be honest, 100% honest. And I've been honest. Every time I've talked about anything on this show, it's been 100% honest, and I think our fan base is really like that.
All right, so... I get that. I get the tequila was part of the...
That was it, really. That's it.
Yeah. That was the dog.
Yeah.
I get that tequila was part of the inspiration here.
Right on.
But tell me about you. Why you to do this particular show? What do you have to do with indie music?
Well, a lot of people are not aware that I, too, am not just a world-famous radio host, but... Am I world-famous now?
You are. You're global.
I am global, right? Yeah,
right.
About that, huh?
Totally.
Yeah. Did I sign some autographs?
You can, if you'd like.
Can I sign your chest?
How many times have you done that before?
I'm going to check with your husband. I'm just kidding. Well, what's your question? I was so excited about signing your chest.
How did you come up with the idea to do this competition? Why? What?
About me.
Yes,
about
you.
You. That's
what
where
about
you're
you
going.
that made this happen?
That's where you're going. I hate talking about myself. Is that weird? Do people hate talking about themselves?
So
and most people like to talk about themselves, but I hate talking about myself. All right, so I'll spill the beans. So I am an independent musician. I play a little keyboards. I play guitar terribly. I know like 3 chords, but I've written probably over 300 songs, and I've actually put out 5 CDs. Actually, I think it's 7 under 3 individual projects. So if you listen to this show the first week, we did an interview with a guy named Jake McGrew. And all I can tell you is he's very, very near and dear to my heart. It's almost like we're brothers. It's almost like we're twins. It's even worse than that, even deeper than that. But I did a country music project called Jake McGrew. I did one called Chuck Fresh Chill, which is kind of an experimental EDM thing. And I have another band called Font. And these are the recent ones. Years ago, I had a bunch of different ones in the 90s and stuff, too. So I've been an independent musician for years, and I understand the challenges presented to independent musicians. How do you get your music out there? How do you get people to hear you? How do you get the attention of promoters? How do you turn it into a paying career from a hobby? And it's one of the most difficult things that I think all independent musicians can identify with. Like, how do you take that next step? How do you turn it into something you're doing in your bedroom to something that you can actually do for money in front of people? So, being in that realm, I kind of understood the challenges these people are facing, and I looked for other people who are addressing these challenges, and I can't find much information. It's certainly not a radio show that does what this Indie Originals program does. But the other thing I do, too, is I'm also an independent author. I've written 16, 17, 18 books and self-published most of them. I was published by a major publisher with one of my books, and it was honestly the worst mistake I've ever made. I was making a ton of money on it's called a how-to book. I wrote a book called How to Be a DJ, and I signed with a major publisher. They gave me an advance, and I never saw another dime from that because they dropped the book soon after they published it. But I made a lot more than that $5,000 in advance. And if I held on to the rights to that book when it was still hot, I would have still made a lot more money in that. So I decided I was going to go the self-publishing route. So I was one of the first people that I knew that went self-publishing. Now it's a big thing. It's pretty common now. And also I am involved with a couple movie projects, including one of my own. I'm doing a documentary, which I can't disclose the details on yet because it's a secret. I'm filming it right now, and if I give it away, people are going to know, and they're going to shut down on me. And I can't let that happen just yet. So I've done all three. I've done independent music, I've done independent writing and publishing, and independent movies that I'm working on, and with some other people, including Jake Estrada, starring in a movie called Bocas right now. And that's a neat little project. That's been an eye-opener. All the troubles and challenges that movie makers go through, not just for the technique itself, but the people problems and the logistics and the legal issues. And oh my God, there's just so much to learn. And that's kind of what we're trying to help people learn. We're trying to help people get over that hump. Like, what do I need? I want to be a movie maker, so what do I need to know? What pitfalls am I going to fall into? What can I avoid? What kind of scams can I avoid? So that's kind of where this has all come from, Felicia. Does it make sense?
It makes sense. You've got this Indie Originals competition you put together for music, film, literature, if I can say that right.
Yeah.
And talent.
Right on.
Seriously, which direction are you heading with this thing? I mean, your mind goes 1,000 miles an hour, and it feels like this competition's just blown up.
Well, being involved in those three aspects and involving some of the other ones, including choreography for one of our movie skits. We did a big dance routine, a big zombie dance routine in one of the movies I'm working on. And the talent thing, we worked for some local talent agencies who provided us some talent for the movie also. So I just thought of all these things that I had done, the three things that I had done myself, plus all these other synergies that could be just taken advantage of if you put them all together in one place. To put all these minds together, all these creative talents together in one building for a day, and let them just feed off of each other, to share some of their experiences. And it will probably help each of these individual people, even if they don't think it. I mean, think an author can use a photographer for covers, right?
Yep.
A musician can use actors and dancers for a music video.
That's true.
Right? Filmmakers can use music all the time, and they need stories to film. So you think about it, put all these together in one place. And no one's ever done this before. And I'm like, why hasn't anybody done this? So we decided we were going to do that. And that's what the Indie Originals Live Talent Competition is essentially doing.
All right, so I understand that you've started a nonprofit around this.
Right on.
Give me some insight into that.
All right, well, the nonprofit was kind of the next extension of this thing. And I talked to a bunch of people who run these types of events, and they said, you should start a nonprofit. I'm like, what do I need to do that for? And it's because of all the good we're trying to do with the community here. We're trying to create an organization that supports, educates, and promotes independent talent. And to do that, you are going to need some serious funds because, hey, my pockets are empty. My savings are dumped into this thing already. But you need some funds if you're going to be able to support people in a myriad of ways. You're going to be able to throw them some funding, maybe some underprivileged children who want to do something, they want to film something, we can give them some funds to help them realize their dreams, maybe some instruments for musicians who can't afford them, maybe some lessons for people who can't do that. And to educate people, again, as we talked about all the synergies available among all these different avenues, and also to let people know about the pitfalls and the things that you shouldn't do as an independent artist that could actually get you in trouble or could end up getting you on the wrong side of a lawsuit, getting sued or something like that too. So we need to educate people that you can't just take Cardi B's song and throw it in your movie. You're going to end up in trouble doing that. Or there's this guy on the internet who promotes musicians and he promises for $10,000 he's going to put you on the top of the Spotify charts. There's a lot of things that you can't do that could end up hurting you in the long run, and we're going to educate people why these things are bad or good or what you should do or are positive experiences too. And then to promote, which is essentially our websites and radio shows, our YouTube channels, to help give these people an avenue to showcase their creative talents, their movies, their books, their music, their dance routines, anything talent-wise.
I like it.
Yeah. So that's what the Indie Originals Live, it's incorporated. It's a 501c non-for-profit charity. And the long-term goal of this thing, and we've talked about this before, is actually a school. We want to create like this school, like this giant, I envision this giant castle structure. Maybe like an old church with a moat around it. Seriously, it's going to be the coolest thing ever. We'll have music classes, we'll have film classes, we'll have writing classes, we'll have dance classes. This big, independent, collaborative place where people could just go and create.
I like it.
Like a total think tank for creative people. And I just don't know of many places, if any at all, exist. And maybe one in every big city or, man, everyone in every shopping mall.
If anybody can pull that off, you can pull it off.
Well, that's the craziest thing I've ever thought of. Yeah.
All right. So now you've created, in conjunction with this, you've created a local IndieCon 2019 that I believe is happening on June 15th.
Right on.
Tell me about that one.
So the radio show in Central Florida has attracted a lot of attention. And there's all these bands, all this really cool talent around here, really, really talented musicians here. And so let's bring all these guys together it was going to be an Indie Originals concert. And then we kind of evolved that into like, well, we're doing this organization to support independent creators and talent. And well, why not combine the whole thing? And we turned it into something called IndieCon, or Independent Creators Convention. And we thought we'd do our same one in Central Florida, because we had a lot of the talent here who was already interested in performing and doing this concert. Said, let's take it to the next level. Let's bring in the authors. Let's bring in the filmmakers. And we could do a contest around it, too, like a competition with a whole bunch of different categories. And to be honest, I mean, the main thing around this is marketing. Because if you do a competition, you've got winners, you've got laurels, and you've got promotion and advertising. It's another mechanism to help promote the independent artist. And every little bit helps. And if you're an award-winning artist, that gives you a leg up over somebody else. There's a couple of people we talked to who were invited to several other larger conventions because they won an award from one of the organizations we're working with here in Central Florida. They said, hey, you guys won an award? Yeah, okay, well, we'll get you in over the guys who didn't win an award. So it's just another way to promote yourself, to help you compete a little bit more effectively in the independent talent industry, if you know what I'm saying.
That's awesome. You've got a lot of great ideas going on here.
It's great. People compare me to Steve Rubell. You know who that is?
Actually, I
Studio 54 guy,
yeah,
the crazy guy in the 80s that did all this.
It's brilliant.
Yeah,
it's buddy Ian. They're brilliant.
It's crazy. Yeah, there's some really pie in the sky aspirations, but hey, it could happen. And you got to start somewhere, and you got to at least try, right?
That's right.
You're never going to know if you don't.
Before we get back to the music, is there anything else about this you want to tell us?
Yeah, we are still accepting entries in all the categories, and that's film. If you're a filmmaker, if you know a filmmaker, get that in there. If you're an author, you know an author, or a cover designer, or a poster maker. And of course, as this show centers around music, if you're an independent musician, we've got categories ranging everywhere from inspirational to country to rock to electronic dance music, just about everything. We've even got categories for best guitar solo, and no one's done that in years. And you can still get those entries in now through, I think, close to the end of May. I think the official end of the competition is. It's pretty well evenly priced, very fairly priced, and you can enter right now and find all the rules, regulations, and even learn about IndieCon if you want to come to Central Florida in the middle of June and attend this amazing convention. Tickets are on sale now. It's not a huge place. I think we cap at 1,200 people. And we've already, through the VIP section, given out a couple hundred of those tickets. And also through the bands and their supporting people, we've given a bunch of tickets away there. So there might be, let's say, 800 tickets for sale. So you need to jump on those now, otherwise you're going to miss out. And I'd hate to turn people away at the door. So it's www.indieoriginalslive.com. Do you need me to spell that for you, Felicia?
No, I think I've got that. Thank you.
www.indieoriginalslive.com. You can get there through our website, through the radio show's website, indieoriginals.com also. Does that answer all the people's questions? Is that everything? We got anything else going on?
That's everything I had.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Great. That's awesome. How about if we take some of the music for some of the people who've committed to be at the IndieCon 2019 in June?
Ooh.
Play some of their music now.
That's a grooving idea. Let's do it.
All right.
It's gonna take a little longer. It's gonna take a little time. I know stronger. I just can't seem to pass the time. Now I was once told a tale of a long lost soul who decided his life needed a longer road. Whoa, he decided not to give up being alive in a moment. So being alive in a second is all we need to go. It's gonna take a little longer. It's gonna take a little time. I know my love for you's growing stronger. I just can't seem to unwind. It's gonna take a little longer. It's gonna take a little time. I know my love for you's growing stronger. I just can't seem to pass the time. The world is a better place just by being here today. Don't ever let it go astray. It's gonna take a little longer. It's gonna take a little time. I know my love for you's growing stronger. I just can't seem to unwind. It's gonna take a little longer. It's gonna take a little time. I know my love for you's growing stronger. I just can't seem to pass the time. Ooh, can't seem to pass the time. Can't seem to pass the time. Can't seem to pass the time. Can't seem to pass the
It's gonna take a little longer. The band is called Run-raquel, an energetic four-piece rock band from Orlando, Florida, led by powerhouse vocalist Marilyn Friedland. Check it out. They're going to be at IndieCon on June 15th, 2019. You need to be there. Remember, you can get your tickets now before they're all gone. This is going to be like the Woodstock of Central Florida. Mark my words. It'll be the coolest thing that's ever happened in Central Florida. www.indieoriginalslive.com. Get your tickets now. You can get them online. It's like a $5 discount if you get them online. Actually, the tickets might go up to... We might raise those puppies up to $20 considering the lineup we got going on. Remember, all the proceeds go to our nonprofit Indie Originals Live Incorporated Foundation, our 501c nonprofit, to promote and educate and support local, and actually not just local, but independent creators of all types, movie makers, authors, and musicians. So let's tickets right now for IndieCon 2019, www.indieoriginalslive.com. Coming up next from Port Orange, New Jersey, which is near Daytona. For a lot of people who heard of Daytona, a lot of people probably have not heard of Port Orange, but we know where the Daytona 500, Florida, right? Central Florida. This is a new song from their upcoming CD. It's called Trigger. It's May Tatro with her band Moonlight-Drive-in, and they'll also be at IndieCon 2019, so you can hear this live for one of the first times it's ever been played live. That's right. IndieCon 2019, June 15, 2019, www.indieoriginalslive.com. May Tatro, Moonlight-Drive-in, Trigger on IOL.
across the floor and we fall for it once more. Every time, just like we've always done before. We have always gone through life with ease, but everywhere we turn the signs are so deceiving. Turning left around the corner, didn't know it, didn't see it, didn't mean it, don't know how to learn the meaning. We'll always find our way through the gray. Every day still feels the same without fame. We're not lost, we are just searching for love. Please don't pull the trigger. Please don't pull the trigger. We are in a moment's paradise. Every ride we try, it always has a ticket price. Sitting in the clouds upon our horses, on a carousel made up of monster forces. Up on all the thrones, we still feel so alone, surrounded by our courts, debating words that have no feeling. The castle is our home. These walls are made of stone, they crumble down around us, just like rocks cut by us and grown. We'll always find our way through the gray. Every day still feels the same without fame. We're not lost, we are just searching for love. Please don't pull the trigger. Please don't pull the trigger. We'll always find our way through the gray. Every day still feels the same without fame. We're not lost, we are just searching for love. Please don't pull the trigger. No, please don't pull the trigger.
That's May Tatro and Moonlight-Drive-in with a song called Trigger on IOL, appearing at IndieCon 2019, June 15th, 2019 at the Melbourne Auditorium, www.indieoriginalslive.com. Another band that's appearing at IndieCon. This is like the IndieCon special, people. It's the most amazing music you've ever heard in Central Florida. All original stuff, all great stuff. Some young, some old, but just all very, very innovative and just great stuff. This is what top 40 music should be. Next up, the band is called Anja-and-the-Dreamers. We had them on our other show, and we plan to interview them on this show soon. We need to talk to these people on this show. A lot of exciting things coming up with Anja-and-the-Dreamers. They won countless awards, opened up for some pretty big names here in Central Florida. Anja, Elissa, and Clara. And they have a guest dreamer, which is, I think, Dad. I think Anya's dad plays backup vocal, harmonica, and some percussion once in a while, too. But, yeah, they're an amazing band right here in Central Florida. And they've got a new CD coming out soon, too. They're in the studio working hard on it. And this is one of the preview tracks from their new CD. It's called A Little Bit Crazy. And this is Anja-and-the-Dreamers performing at IndieCon 2019 on June 15th. Anja-and-the-Dreamers, A Little Bit Crazy on IOL.
I'm done. Things never turn out right. I always mess it up, but that's exactly what I'm craving tonight. We'll cause a scene, a fire will start. It's just you and me, and we'll watch everything fall apart. the fire grows. We're a recipe for escalation. Take my hand, we'll run to the edge of the world. We're all a little bit crazy, so go and stay with me, baby. You seem a little shy lately. Let loose with me, baby. We got a whole night, but you're afraid to fall. You say I'm losing your mind, losing your mind. Aren't we all? And oh, if you come to hate me, remember me, baby, like tonight. A fling of lights to fading light. You can resent me for the rest of your life, but for the night, take my hand. We'll run to the edge of the
That was Anja-and-the-Dreamers off their new upcoming album. The song's called A Little Bit Crazy, and it'll be right here, performed live at IndieCon 2019 on June 15th, 2019, right here in Central Florida. Tickets still available, www.indieoriginalslive.com. Hey, remember, you can make a donation, too. If you can't make it to IndieCon, you can make a donation right here on our website. Just go to the same place you'd buy a ticket. It's through Eventbrite, and you can make a donation of the amount you choose. We'll take 6 digits, anything you could do. Remember, it's for a good cause. It is tax deductible. We are a federally recognized 501c3 nonprofit organization, and the funds go to support, educate, and promote independent artists in film and also literature and, of course, music. So make sure you get your tickets or make a donation, www.indieoriginalslive.com. Coming up next, Miss Cheryl Tandy Johnson, known as Lady Johnson, right here in Central Florida. She does jazz, light rock, R&B, funk, top 40, swing, soul, the pop, and the blues. She does it all. My goodness. She's one of the lead vocalists for a band called the GT Express Blues Band, and she performs with a whole bunch of jazz ensembles right here in Central Florida. She's done some stuff on her own, too, that is equally as impressive. This next song is Lady Tandy. It's called Shelter from the Rain. She will, too, be performing at IndieCon 2019 on June 15th. So get your tickets now, indieoriginalslive.com. Lady Tandy, Shelter from the Rain on IOL.
The storm is coming and I don't know what to say. Staring out my window as the rain begins to fall. Can't believe it's raining while I'm losing it all. I need shelter from the rain. Make the grief go away. Protect me from the pain. I need shelter from the rain. me. Now you're gonna go out and make the world your own. You don't want my help, you got to do it all alone. I need shelter from the rain. Make the grief go away. Protect me from the pain. I need shelter from the rain. I can't escape the thunder, I can't outrun the storm. I've got to find a refuge where I'll be safe and warm. When I see the sunshine, then that's the day I know that somehow I have found the strength to truly let you go. I need shelter from the rain. Make the grief go away. Protect me from the pain. I need shelter from the rain. I need shelter from the rain. Make the grief go away. Protect me from the pain. I need shelter from the rain. Protect me from the pain. I need shelter from the rain. 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 Shelter from the rain.
That was Lady Tandy, Shelter from the Rain, performing live at IndieCon 2019 on June 15th. Get your tickets now. Hey, coming up next, Erin Scott. She's just this mild-mannered, laid-back chick until the lights come up, the amplifiers start to hum, and she gets a little whiff of rock and roll, man, and Sol-Syren comes out, man, and what a show they put on. And you can see them too live, Sol-Syren, at IndieCon 2019 on June 15, 2019, right here in Central Florida. Remember, if you can't make it to the show, buy a ticket, make a donation, help out starving artists just like us. Starving authors, starving filmmakers, starving dancers, starving musicians. www.indiaoriginalslive.com. And check out Sol-Syren. This is a great song you've heard on this show before. It's called Edge of the Abyss. You'll hear this live at IndieCon. Sol-Syren on IOL.
I close my eyes, but I can't get away. I think I'm on the edge again. How can I find my way without falling? I know I'm on the edge again. I know you're tired and so afraid. The void taking control. We must move on and step away, or embrace the fall, or embrace the fall. There's more than one side to this. I'm stuck here on the edge again. Just turn away and save yourself. I'm out here on the edge again. I know you're tired and so afraid. The void taking control. We must move on and step away, or embrace the fall, or embrace the fall. I know you're tired and so afraid. The void taking control. We must move on and step away, or embrace the fall. I know you're tired and so afraid. The void taking control. We must move on and step away, or embrace the, or embrace the fall.
Sol-syren on IOL. Remember, all these bands we're playing today, you'll hear live at IndieCon 2019. Whew, it's been a long day. Right here in Central Florida. www.indieoriginalslive.com for details, the lineup, posters, and links to their websites, too, where you can hear the rest of their awesome music. The other stuff you're not hearing here on this radio show. Bianca-Jazmine's won all kinds of awards, performed all over South Florida, from Miami to West Palm to Stewart, and she's coming to Central Florida on June 15th to perform right here at IndieCon. Don't miss it. It'll be the Woodstock of the 2010s. This song's called Hear Our Voices. The artist is Bianca-Jazmine, and this is IOL.
Can you hear our voices? war against itself. Every night we hear stories telling of terror. How can I grow when the soil's been poisoned? Who's gonna show for the hurt and exploited? If money's gonna talk louder than our voices, we've gotta scream, let them know we have choices. Can you hear us screaming it out loud, screaming it out loud, not messing around? Can you feel us about to break it down, about to break it down? Time for changes now. Can you hear our voices? Tell me why we only listen when we're in fear, and we're in fear now. Unify, 'cause we all breathe the same air. How can I grow when the soil's been poisoned? Who's gonna show for the hurt and exploited? If money's gonna talk louder than our voices, we've gotta scream, let them know we have choices. Can you hear us screaming it out loud, screaming it out loud, not messing around? Can you feel us about to break it down, about to break it down? Time for changes now. We're raising our guns instead of raising our voices. We're opening fire instead of opening our minds. We're paying for weapons instead of paying attention. We're multiplying, but all we've done is divide. Can you hear us screaming it out loud, screaming it out loud, not messing around? Can you feel us about to break it down, about to break it down? Time for changes now. Can you hear our voices?
That was Bianca-Jazmine with Hear Our Voices, another awesome track on our Indie Originals Live IndieCon special. Hey, next artist coming up, we need to give a big thanks out to Steve-Hodak. He's one of the guys, and you probably have a guy like this in your town too, who's responsible for putting on the open mic nights, which is a great opportunity for independent bands to kind of work out their new music without the stress of having a paid gig. It's being able to read people's faces and hear their reaction and see the reaction to your songs before you're in a high-stress environment. It's one of the most important things an indie musician can do, is to get out there in front of people, try out their new stuff, make some changes, tweak things up a little bit before they're ready to head to the studio and record their new album or EP. So thank you, Steve-Hodak, for putting these on all over Central Florida and Brevard County. And Steve is also an independent musician, too, who will be performing a couple of songs right here at IndieCon on June 15th. Remember those tickets and donation button, www.indieoriginalslive.com. Check out Steve-Hodak. This is one of our favorites. It's called Welcome to the Trailer Park. The artist again, Steve-Hodak, and this is IOL.
Welcome to the trailer park. Mary stole a bottle of Cuddy's Sark. She took it home and she poured it down the drain. Bobby says he loves her still, but he can't stop drinking and he never will. Her soft, sweet tears, they fall like rain. Most stories end this way, like the quiet sunset on a summer's day. But when the sun goes down, it gets a little crazy after dark. Welcome to the trailer park. Welcome to the trailer park. Welcome to the trailer park. Fat Reggie got a new dog, all he does is bark. Someone called the cops, I think it's the old lady at 23. They came out later that day, said they might have to take his doggy away. Reggie bought himself a muzzle, now he's quiet as he can be. Most stories end this way, like the quiet sunset on a summer day. But when the sun goes down, it gets a little crazy after dark. Welcome to the trailer park. Welcome to the trailer park. Welcome to the trailer park. Chico made a bong from his son's toy shark. He fired it up, but the plastic burned his hand. Someone called the DCF, but he told them that his name was Jeff. And now all he says is he'll never play guitar in a band. Most stories end this way, like the quiet sunset on a summer day. But when the sun goes down, it gets a little crazy after dark. Welcome to the trailer park. Oh, welcome to the trailer park. All we do is sit around, smoke and drink, joke and clown. What if the world's on fire? This was the first spark. Oh, welcome to the trailer park. Ooh, welcome to the trailer park. Welcome to the trailer park. Everybody thinks Tattoo Gina is a narc, 'cause all she does is write in her diary. But one day she had too much, and she chased half the park around with her mama's crutch, and she threw that book down in the mud for all to see. Oh, most stories end this way, like the quiet sunset on a summer day. But when the sun goes down, you know it gets a little crazy after dark. Welcome to the trailer park. Welcome to the trailer park. All we do is sit around, smoke and drink, joke and clown. But if the world catches fire, you know this was the first spark. Ooh, welcome to the trailer park. Welcome to the trailer park. Welcome to the trailer park. You're gonna fit right in. Welcome to the trailer park.
You are tuned to the hottest indie music source in the entire world. This is Indie Originals Live. With your host, legendary DJ and performance artist, Chuck Fresh.
I can tell you that there is no collusion when I say Indie Originals Live is the best program. Believe me. Chuck Fresh is the Tim Apple of indie music, okay? And listen, I'm not the only dictator who listens to indie originals either. Putin, Kim, Dick Cheney, they all listen to Indie Originals Live with Chuck Fresh and Felicia. Pathetic Pandora, fake music. Angry Apple, fake music. It's really a conspiracy when you think about it. Make music great again. Listen to Indie Originals Live. As you know, I'm a stable genius, okay? Indie Originals Live.
I've been teaching Chinese children English, believe it or not, through this VIP kid program. So I basically sit in my laptop in my skivvies. I open up my webcam and boom, I'm teaching English straight through to kids in China till about 10 in the morning.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That seems a little too good to be true.
I actually get paid for it, too.
Tell me more.
Which is interesting. I thought it was a scam too. First time I saw it. I think I saw a Facebook ad for it, and I thought if something looks too good to be true, it usually is. So, I proceed with caution. That's what I do. And I did a few classes to see if they paid me. And there it was at the beginning of the next month.
All right. What kind of money are you talking about
It's
here?
actually not bad. It's more than you're going to be making at your retail store. You know what I mean? If you're looking for holiday money, I made over $4,000 last month.
Holy crap. That's some bank right there.
It's actually tons of fun, really. The kids are great.
That's awesome. You get to do this all from working from home.
Working from home. That's right. Yeah.
Wow. I want that gig. Are they still hiring?
Yeah. All you need really is a college degree in like anything, art, music, gym. And there's really no teaching certificate required, which I thought was interesting when I got hired. But they do ask if you have some experience working with young children, so you know how to act around 5, 6, 7-year-olds, I mean, you could have been an in-home music teacher, a soccer coach, a youth group counselor, a daycare employee, whatever. I used to teach computer programming to small kids in a summer camp program. So that's where I got my experience over 8 years. So the only thing that's really mandatory is that college degree. And what's really cool is they provide all the materials, and their new app's rock solid, man. It's real easy to use. You can use a PC, Mac, or even an iPad. It's stupid easy, Felicia. Lessons are about 25 minutes each, and when you get rolling, you can stack 20 in a row if you want. They pay about, I guess it's about $10 a class, so it works out to about $20 an hour. So they're like 25-minute sessions. And you can make up to like $200 a day if you're out of your mind like I am. And you can be done by 9 a.m. Eastern. And then you have the whole day to yourself. Do whatever you want to do.
Well, that's pretty cool. All right, so I'm watching a couple of your videos here, and it looks like you're actually just video chatting with these kids in China, like they're in their homes and stuff. I bet you've probably seen some strange things. What's the weirdest thing you've seen?
Well, number one, a lot of people think that everybody in China walks around with chopsticks and a kimono. No, kimono is Japanese.
Yes, that's true.
And not everybody uses chopsticks. They actually use forks and spoons in China, too. So I've seen a lot of things. It's really been an educational thing. You really have no idea how people live on the other side of the earth.
That's true.
Visit my website, www.eslgig.com. That's Ernie, Sam, Larry, Gig. Just like a gig, a music gig. ESLgig.com and check it out for yourself. VIP Kid, man. Great gig. Earn some extra money and have a lot of fun while you're doing it. ESLgig.com. Check it out.
You are tuned to the hottest indie music source in the entire world. This is Indie Originals Live. With your host, legendary DJ and performance artist, Chuck Fresh.